Hola, hola. Welcome to Sexpressive, the show where we talk all about sex.
Because we believe when we talk about sex, we have better sex. And I want to have really good sex. Hey, Jade.
Hey, Greg.
How are you?
Good.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
We're back in the studio right now, laying down episode 2.
Last time we were here was before Halloween. Hopefully everyone had a really nice, slutty Halloween weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet for me, I guess, Halloween weekend, but the week after, I guess, I don't know, definitely picked up.
Oh, I guess we should probably tell people who the fuck we are, right?
Oh yeah, well,
yeah, we're just talking to each other like this isn't a show.
Well, if this is the
audience.
First episode and you're just joining us, I'm Jade.
Yeah, and I'm Greg. Yeah.
Nice to,
and what are your pronouns, Jade?
I go by she, her, they, them.
Yeah, that's hot.
And what about you?
I go by he, him, but I will respond to anything. I love being called girl, so call me girl.
I love calling you girl.
Hey, girl. So yeah. Hi, welcome to our show. We're going to talk about sex because that's what this show is about.
Yeah,
surprise.
So if you heard our first episode, we talked a little bit about our first experiences.
Our dirty first.
Yeah, it was a chance for us to kind of tell our listeners who we are and what the show is about. So I feel like since we have that first episode under our belt, we kind of have more direction.
Yeah, we had no fucking idea what we were doing.
Yeah, the first
episode. And it shows. So if you sat through that, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, also, I just wanted to throw out there real quick. I wanted to add a little addendum to something that we said in the first episode or the episodes or whatever. There's only 2. We mentioned that this show is primarily about queer sex and sexuality. And that is definitely true because we are both really gay. So everything that we do is through the lens of that queer spectrum. So that is the experience we have to share with you. But I just wanted to be sure to let it be known that if you do not identify as queer, you can still listen to this show.
Yeah, this is
we
just
would
a
love it if
safe
you listen to
space
this show. It's a safe space.
Yeah,
and
for everyone.
Maybe you'll learn something, which would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, sex is universal. It doesn't really. I mean, it's.
But just don't ask us things about straight sex because we don't know how that works. So. What do they do? How does it work?
I've heard of rumors, but
I don't believe them. So, yeah. Hi. Do you just want to dive in?
Yeah. So I guess the topic that we're mainly discussing this episode is butt sex. Yes.
Butt sex.
It is a big part of queer sexuality.
Yeah, we basically invented it. I'm just gonna say it.
We
invented it. Sorry,
you're absolutely
people.
right. Ancient Greeks.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
you're welcome. So we're gonna talk about butt sex because we love butt sex. It's a fun alternative to not butt sex, I guess.
Yeah,
Any sex is an alternative to another sex, is it not?
But I think, butt sex has I was definitely scared, I guess. It was definitely,
first.
Yeah. Well, no, not for just in general. I just hear, I don't know. I guess it just kind of gets
okay. So
rep,
we're gonna hopefully throughout this episode we're going to, if you are not familiar with anal sex, if you've never experienced it, hopefully you're going to learn something, and hopefully
keep an open mind.
I'm hoping that what we're going to do by the end of this episode is that we're going to make you feel a little more comfortable with the idea of maybe sticking something up your butt.
Yeah, maybe there's something you weren't sure of that you didn't really.
Because there's some myths out there. All right,
this is something we both and everybody when you begin to doing
we know a little bit about it.
Yeah, and you learn more the more you do it, and how to have better experiences. Because the first time for me, it wasn't exactly a great experience.
I told you in the first episode, the first time that I bottomed was not great.
Yeah, it's normal to experience some pain, especially if you're new to that.
Well,
if you're new, I would say
I hesitate to use that statement, because I feel like especially that statement gets thrown around a lot in the heterosexual world when we're talking about girls and their first time. And it's like, oh, it's normal to have pain. And I'm like, is it though? Or is it that you're just not doing it right and you're hurting that person?
Well, yeah, it's kind of something.
Are we
you have
normalizing
to
hurting
learn
women is
by
what I'm
doing
saying?
it.
Let's not do that.
You know, people can tell
Well, I'm just
you,
saying, like, pain can happen during sex. I mean, anyone who's had good sex knows that can also happen sometimes, regardless of the situation.
After that, but yeah.
But what we're getting at is that we want to reduce the pain to as almost nothing.
Minimize it.
It. I mean, if you're doing it right, there won't be any.
Exactly. I would say it's very enjoyable for me nowadays, and it's like something I really like to do. Like,
put things in your butt.
I want something in me.
Put it in your butt. I'm talking to you, straight men. Put it in your butt. I know you want it.
They know what's up.
They don't know. That's the thing. I need them to know. If more straight men were having prostate orgasms, there wouldn't be war all over the place. That's all I'm fucking saying, all right? Everyone would chill the fuck out.
We have the solution for world peace.
I know my earphones got stuck and I almost pulled them off my head. Okay, so let's talk about butt sex, because we're talking right now. We're talking about butt sex, but we're not talking about butt sex.
Well,
so, well, I think we discussed that we wanted to open with, obviously, butt sex preparation, because unlike other orifices, sometimes you need to be a little more prepared.
Yeah, a little more care.
You can't just always jam dicks in there.
No,
willy-nilly like you can with other holes.
Yeah, like I need more preparation to have anal sex, like, than any other type of sex. Like, it's just like sometimes I don't want it, and
oh, I know. Well, like, that's the thing is, like, so in the past, like, I've definitely gone through these like phases in the past where, like, I'm like, I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm a power bottom. Okay, I love anal sex and I love bottoming, but like sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to. It's like a lot of work. I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna lay here. Like I don't even want to like get ready for it. I'm like,
and it's not even like yes, and like I like to get like physically ready and prepared, but sometimes you know you have to be like mentally
spiritually ready.
Yeah, you have to be relaxed. You know, if you're stressed out,
you have to cast
and you're
a circle. Call the corners. Make sure there's no demons hiding in the corner, because that really fucks up sex.
Scary demons in the corner.
sage out your hole. Make sure there's no scary demons.
At least 3 days
prior. Yeah. So, obviously, a lot of people like to prepare for anal sex by douching. If you don't know what douching is, which would be surprising at this point, if you don't know what douching is, it is when you essentially, in this case, since we're talking about butt sex, it is when you flush out your anal cavity with water, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's giving yourself an enema.
Yeah, a cleanse. Like, it's just a way to clean.
We're going to discuss the, I guess, essentially pros and cons of douching, because so I have an opinion on douching, and I'm going to share it with the world. It's that douching is bullshit. Because, so here's the thing. When I first started my sexual foray in life, and I was trying to just sit on every dick I could, I did not even really know about douching, and it was like not, like I was too young to be going to CVS and trying to buy anal douches, like, especially because it was before self-checkout existed, you know. So just,
oh my God, I
know. But like also I didn't know anything about it, and it was like it seemed pretty daunting anyway. So like I just like I wouldn't do it, because like it wasn't really in my scope of you know, understanding. And honestly, I never really had problems. And there's science behind that, and we're going to talk about that. But so we kind of wanted to have like Jade and I were going to have a discussion about, Jade, I guess, is giving us pros.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. So I guess, I'm not like, at least personally, I'm kind of a proponent of douching.
I mean,
think
a lot of people are. Douching is very popular right now.
Yeah. And it's
just
like it makes me feel cleaner. And when I feel cleaner, I feel sexier and I tend to have a better experience. I can just, I feel more relaxed, I guess. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's like, and it's also a mental thing too, because I guess, I'm still trying to get over that, like when you're messing around with your butt, like you're definitely going to encounter some
poo.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my thing.
It's going to happen.
Here's my thing, guys. Shit happens. If you are having anal sex in any way, whether it's with a penis or a finger or a sex toy,
and you think you're not going to come in contact,
you don't get to be surprised if you come across some poo, because guess what, guys? Butts are for pooping,
and everyone does it. So, it is normal.
So this is like, and this is what part of the issue that I had is like, as I've been thinking about it lately, and I've sort of decided that I'm like essentially like I'm quitting douching. I'm quitting. And because it's like not good for your body, and we're going to talk about that. But it's also like, I feel like personally that it adds to this atmosphere that we definitely have in the queer community, especially if we're talking about gay men. I'm looking at you, white gays. Where we have these wildly unrealistic bodily expectations of our sexual partners, to the point where like bottoms these days are supposed to be like completely dehumanized, like sex hole toys. And I'm like,
sterilized.
Yeah. And I'm like, you don't get to like go like dipping your dick around in butts and be surprised when poop comes out sometimes. Like, you don't get to be mad about that. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really, I haven't had any bad experiences, I guess, like when it comes to like poop or anything like that.
No, don't get me wrong, people. I'm not talking about like you like having like a full on like bowel movement on someone.
I think a lot of people.
And I've heard
happen.
horror stories, but honestly, I don't really think most of them are true. And I know that people are worried that that's going to happen, and there's actually a very slim chance that that's going to happen.
Well, if it's like you eat checkers before you do this,
well,
then
don't eat fucking checkers before. That's part of preparing. Okay,
exactly.
So let's go back to before douching. Before you even douche, if you're going to, like, don't do things like eat Chipotle before you're going to bottom. Because you know what? 45 minutes after you eat that burrito bowl, it's going to blast out of your hole. And you know it is. And you do it anyway because it's delicious. But then you're like, you have to accept that maybe you're not going to get fucked in the ass.
Exactly. It's Chipotle or you're going to get fucked.
Yeah. No, and like that's part of it. Is like knowing your body, knowing your system, like knowing how fast that Chipotle normally blows through you. Is it going to be done in an afternoon, or is it going to hit you tomorrow morning? You got to know your body. Be in tune.
Some people are different than others. Some people, it's like an hour later. I mean, for me, I guess.
Are we really having a whole discussion about how fast Chipotle?
We are. Everyone eats Chipotle.
Okay, let's stop plugging Chipotle. All right, well, with anal sex.
So besides fast food,
okay,
sometimes your diet can play a part in
yeah. If you're looking to like live that bottom life and try and have regular sex, I recommend adding more fiber to your diet.
Yeah, which is something I've done recently, and I can tell that it's really helped. Like, I just can time out.
I mean, besides the fact that it will like help with sex, it's also just better for your health.
Absolutely.
So like, come on, guys, we're all getting older. Eat more fiber. Go get your Metamucil. Which, by the way, also, I just want to throw out there real quick that there are a lot of now that capitalism has figured out that gays have money. There's a lot of products that are being geared towards gays, again, specifically white gays. And there's like there's products that are like it's essentially fiber for gay men, like fiber supplements for gay men to help like regulate their system. But like the thing is like they're like advertised as being like some magical fucking fiber supplement, and then they charge you like twice what they would be at CVS. But let me tell you, it's the same fucking ingredients. So do not waste your money on those subscriptions.
God. Don't be fooled by that kind of marketing. It's just any fiber is available.
Just eat a graham cracker.
Yeah, granola bar. Like,
okay, so
anyway, yes, fiber is good and it's healthy for you, and it definitely
so
it's a good way to prep for.
Okay, but we got off topic. We want to talk about douching. So you said that douching makes you feel clean. Are there any other pros before I completely tear down your entire douching argument?
I mean, okay, so I just like to add that I guess you can overdo it, and that's
yes, you can.
Yes, and that's something I like to do.
Don't do that, folks.
Once, maybe twice a week at the most. And I feel like since I've been doing it regularly, I just my digestive system feels healthier. I don't.
Well, here's the thing about that. So if you're using,
and I would like to say I used to flush with a lot more than I do now, and I realize you don't need
to do that. In
much.
fact, that
you don't need to go in so
will
deep.
work against you. That will work against you, and it'll take more time. Okay, so here's
absolutely
the things.
Right.
Here's the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the things real quick. Okay, so douching. Why you shouldn't do it to start with. Okay, so here's the facts, folks. You have inside of you, in your large intestine, there is a part of your intestine that's called the sigmoid colon. I did some research. And it is separated by a muscle. It separates your rectum from your large intestine. And so when you, if you have to poo, essentially what happens is it sits in the sigmoid colon until you actually, go ahead and defecate. So what happens? So then when you're pooing, essentially is you're opening that muscle and you're allowing the feces to move through the rectum and leave your body. But the thing is that because of the presence of that colon and that muscle, is that in reality, unless you are already unless you have to poop at that time, which again, why are you putting things up your butt at that time? If you have to poop at that, unless you have to at that time, there should actually be no feces present in the rectum. And unless the person penetrating you has a ridiculously large
and I've
dick.
Experienced that.
But it has to be okay. To get past this muscle, we're talking ridiculously large. Okay, so unless they have a crazy big dick, the chances are they're not getting past that muscle and into the sigmoid colon. So what I'm saying is that generally speaking, if you take a good shower and you have enough fiber in your diet that you don't have those weird sticky poos, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So if you take a good shower and you don't have to poop at that time, there's not going to be feces there anyway. So the chances of that happening to you are very slim to begin with. And then on top of that, when you douche, besides the fact that it will actually cause physical damage to your body, which I'm going to get into in 1 second, is that when you douche, you could actually, like you were saying, prolong the whole thing and just make it worse. You could actually end up dragging feces down from the sigmoid colon into your rectum with that water, because what's happening is when you douche, especially with all the bulbs that they sell these days, it's with that fucking long thing, that stick that goes inside of you, that just is jetting water up into your large intestine. So what happens is it drags down what's ever there. So you're actually making it worse when you do if you are doing a deep enema douche before you have sex, it's going to take you a fucking while, because now you're dragging poop that didn't even have to be involved in this in the first place into the situation.
No, I like to. Okay, so that's something I used to do when I first started, but now I it's more of like a superficial cleanse. Like it's not. I don't.
Well, so
have to
one
put
of the
so
things
much
I was
and
going
go
to
so
suggest,
deep,
and I had a suggestion for like if you are like if like you need that clean feeling, is that so like your rectum is not actually so like wildly deep that it needs the enema bulb that is usually sold. That's like for like if you are impacted, you know, like that's for like if you have some sort of sickness or something that's making
I know
you
a lot of
super
times before
constipated, or if you're
surgeries,
just like it's like medications from surgeries. If you're hella old, you just shit like if you get impacted, and so the reason that it like jets water up there is to break that up. But if you are not impacted, there's no reason to do that. So if you do still want to clean out before you have anal sex, what I recommend that I've discovered is that they have usually instead of getting like an actual anal bulb, is they have like for like eardroppers. They're usually for kids, honestly.
like a pipette?
No, it's just like a little. It is a bulb still, but it's like softer, and it's for like ear and nose. And they're softer and they're much smaller. So when the amount of water that you're squirting into yourself is less. Like you're not likely to like.
It's not jetting in there.
It's just like a little like a little spritz.
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend to you if you still insist on douching. But the reason that you shouldn't douche. Okay, so here are some of the reasons. It causes trauma in and around the anus. That so like when you're douching, especially if you're using the typical bulb, it has that like hard plastic like insertion.
Yeah, I've definitely
tube.
poked myself a few times.
Yes, you've definitely poked yourself,
yeah.
and it definitely hurts. Yeah. And like the thing is like you don't realize is that because
especially if I'm rushing.
Well, around your anus, you already have really thin membranes. So like when you scratch yourself, it's really easy to like actually like
it's easy to do
open.
with that little.
So
syringe.
when you do that, you're putting yourself at a greater risk of contracting STIs, even STIs such as HIV, because you're adding blood into the equation. So when you're douching, you actually put yourself at a higher risk of contracting STIs. You also can develop bacterial infections because what happens is you have a membrane inside of your rectum that is naturally there to like.
Yeah, gut. Like I know there's gut.
Yeah, you got
bacteria.
your little gut flora. Yeah, and everything's nice. And when you douche, you're washing all of that out. So that's another thing is that if you douche too much, you can actually sort of like fuck up your whole like digestive flora,
sterilize
and become you can
become
become reliant on it. And then like also when you flush out that membrane, you're essentially dehydrating.
Really? Because I always thought like I don't know. I always feel like. Hydrated like
no,
it
actually dehydrates. So I was looking this up. It actually dehydrates, which again can lead to cracking in the lining of the intestine and like irritation, and also put you at a greater risk of STIs.
Okay, so I wasn't aware of that. This is a lot.
Yeah.
This is something Greg and I have talked about a lot, but I didn't really want to hear the bad sides until the show. So I'm hearing it along with our listeners, and it's definitely. I'm not going to stop douching.
Also, like poking, stabbing your hole. Right, I am more aware. You're about to like have sex is like a total buzzkill.
It is, and it's happened when I rush. But I'm pretty. I have a nice little routine now, and I just it.
So don't stab your butt.
Yeah, don't do that.
Here are my tips to you if you do insist on douching. If you don't believe me that there won't be poo in there, but I promise there won't be. So here are my tips for you. One, again, try to use a smaller bulb. The longer the stem, the deeper you're going to be shooting into the intestine, and then honestly, you're going to be it's just going to take you for fucking ever. Two, you should, if you are going to douche, you need to start honestly like at least an hour before you have sex, because the thing of it is that you don't know is that like that you may not know if you have not douched is that water. Not all of the water just like comes out when you push it out. Like some of it might remain in there, and then you'll be like walking around or doing whatever, and like, I gotta go take care of something.
Yeah.
So
don't do it last minute.
Don't do it last minute.
Don't do it when they're on the way over.
It's not worth it. It's not gonna work. You're just gonna end up having like
it's gonna
weird
be
wet hole.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing. So on that weird wet hole thing, I just a little like side, like a little whatever that word is. I can't think of it anyway. Who cares? So, I had a thing happen to me once where I was like trying to like rush douching, right? And it like was not a good situation, and I did end up like hurting myself. And then because of the presence of the water that didn't all come out inside of me, it did this weird thing where it essentially like washed away the lube that we were using. So like I ended up literally my asshole got bruised from this sex because there was so much friction because the douche like essentially negated the lube that we had used. So like, don't rush douching. Don't do it. I hear you chuckling back there, Lauren.
So yeah, I don't know. So that's douching, but that's some of the other. There's other ways we were going to talk about like prepping.
I just want to talk real quick. So don't do that. Don't use the long stem. Do not do it standing up because again, if you like do the whole like some people like to get on all fours and like really get it deep. You do not need to get it deep. It's gonna just take forever. Don't do that. And then what was it? Oh, and if you so if you aren't familiar with enemas and you're going to try an enema, when you go to the pharmacy, you're going to see different enemas. There's one that's called like a Fleet enema. It's like the brand of enema, and it's just like a regular, like already packaged enema. In a pinch, you can use that. I've had to use it before on vacation, but as my friend told me, there's like a really harsh solution in that because it's like a douche. So if you have to use that, dump out the solution and fill it with regular water because it's just going to fuck shit up worse.
Okay. That's a, I'll definitely take that
that's my last tip.
Consideration.
We'll stop talking about flushing out our butts and start talking about.
But that's like, that's a pretty big like topic. I think that like, I'm glad that we talked about, it's like a lot of
honestly,
things with the show.
We could have just done a whole episode on douching.
Yeah. I don't know. I still enjoy it, and I wouldn't say like I enjoy it.
Well, and then the other thing that we should
adds
talk
to the
about real
enjoyment.
quick, because douching in and of itself, enema in and of itself, is a form of anal sex. It is a kink that a number of people enjoy to the point where if you go do a little digging online, if you were not familiar with this, there's whole like shower equipment accoutrement that you can attach to your shower head to like flush out your hole.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
But the thing is, like, for a lot of these people that are using this, it's not so much that they're doing it to prepare for sex, but that it is the act of feeling filled with the water is the sexual experience. Which, like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when I was douching and I was like getting ready, I was like, ooh.
I was gonna say
it's like
if
a precursor.
The temperature is
nice.
Like, sometimes it's a little too hot.
Oh yeah, like, don't use super hot water. I definitely almost like burned
here.
my rectum once.
Yeah, make sure you
want
dip a
lukewarm.
finger.
But if it's too cold, it's gonna be a little because remember that the inside of you is 98 point.
Well, you need to be relaxed to do this. So cold water isn't really a good idea.
You need to be relaxed before you put anything in your butt.
Exactly.
Ever.
Like
a tense butt is not going to accept any kind of penetration.
You're just gonna do damage. Like don't. Yeah. So
yeah.
You need to be relaxed, and I don't know. Make sure the water is a nice temperature. But there's some other things I like to add.
And use lube. Always use lube for anything. Anytime you're putting anything in your butt, please use lube. And if you don't have lube, I'm looking at you, gays. You can use spit. I've used spit. It can be rough, though.
Yeah, we suggest lube if
you're gonna use spit. Here's what you got to do. If you're gonna use spit, you gotta you want to get that like really thick. Really thick spit. So you got to do you can either just straight up hock a loogie on their dick, or you do that. When you're watching, we've all watched face fucking porn. Let's get real. I'm looking at you, Daddy Podcast. We've all watched face fucking porn, and when it gets and then they start it's almost vomiting, but it's not vomiting. It's gross, slimy.
Yes.
Yeah, I know this is gross and might be traumatic to hear about, but that spit is really good lube.
Interesting. I don't know. I prefer
it's
lube.
Thicker. It's viscous.
Yeah, I prefer lube. I don't really spit is definitely.
Well, yeah. If you have lube, use it. Also, don't use KY because that's for straight people.
Yeah. I don't know.
I said it. What? Do you have a story about KY? And how
I guess that was all I really know about.
And yeah, also okay. So speaking of lube, if we're gonna get into lube,
that's the only company that has commercials. So.
Okay, so things. If you don't already know this, if you're having sex using condoms, you should only use water-based lube because other kinds of lube can disintegrate your condom, therefore
Also, some
rendering
people,
it useless.
yeah,
So don't do that.
People can have like a skin reaction to oil-based lubes. I was reading.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So, yeah, and so water-based is usually safer for
Water-based
everybody.
is usually the safest.
But it doesn't last as long.
But yeah, silicone is going to last longer and give you like a better like viscous kind of thick gooey feel. But again, not ideal with condoms. So if you're using condoms, please use water-based lube because otherwise that condom will probably be pointless.
Yeah,
but also I was going to say, if you are inexperienced with anal sex and you don't know what lube to use, especially this is going out to the straight people, because I know you have all kinds of fancy special lubes made for y'all with like warm and tingling sensations in them. Do not put that on your hole. You will regret it. I mean, unless your kink is burning your hole.
Someone out
Which
there.
I'm not trying to yuck your yum.
I was going to say.
I'm not trying to yuck your yum. But don't put tingly lube on your hole. Is my lube advice.
So make sure always have like lube on hand if this is something you want to try.
Always have lube on hand,
Yeah,
like all the time, forever in your life. So here's my thing. You may not know this. I know, but you can totally get like they make like little packets of like travel packets of lube that you can like keep in your purse or your backpack if you're like a super slut like me. And if you don't know where to get them. They'll usually have them at sex stores.
Where do we get
you
ours?
can get them pretty cheap. But now here's the thing. This is where this is the real tip. If you, all the gay people already know where to get them. And this is where you get them at gay bars. Specifically, the kinkier the gay bar, the more likely to have packets of lube. If you're in the Philadelphia area, the Mazzoni Center is always leaving free condoms and lube at pretty much every gay bar in the neighborhood. So if you need free condoms and lube, go to the bike stop. Also, just throwing out there, especially if we are talking about anal sex and we are talking about lube, I want to point out that lube is actually part of safe anal sex. So, like, don't just think that because you have a condom, you're having safe sex, because tearing up your hole is unsafe.
Also, I've had, I wouldn't say like, because anytime I've had anal sex, I use lube, but I guess being like water-based and it's wearing out or whatever, over time it's more friction, and I've had condoms break, so lube is gonna like prolong the life of a condom and keep it from breaking.
And it's gonna prolong the life of your hole.
Yes,
what it's gonna do. So, and don't be just keep if they're, that's like the thing. Like if you're bottoming, if you're getting fucked, in an anal sex situation, just don't be afraid to keep use as much lube. Use that whole fucking bottle if you have to. Because if you're not having fun while you're getting fucked, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, don't
get out of there.
Don't be stingy with the lube.
Get out of me. Get out of my house. Get out.
And don't be afraid to stop. You know, if you can feel like too much friction and you can tell that you might need to. Don't be afraid to say, you know, like, stop. We need more lube. Like,
well, I mean,
grab the lube. Like,
don't be afraid to say no, everyone. Which that's like a whole other. Like a whole other topic. Oh my God,
we could that's
saying no
whole
is
other
like
episode.
Is like that. We'll get into. I mean, actually, we do plan.
Yeah, everybody
in the next episode probably talking about consent
and boundaries,
because it's important and it is the beginning of all and every sexual encounter. So like, without consent, it's not sex; it's rape. End of story. We'll get into that more. But yeah, saying no. Well, I just remember real quick in high school, they were like, you say no, you can say no, you can say no, you can say no, like in health class. And I remember sitting there being like, how hard can it be to say no? And I'm like, it can be really fucking hard to say no.
It can be if someone's like can be,
especially
like,
if you're inexperienced.
I wouldn't say slightly abusive, like after, you know, if it's like something you've clearly stated that you don't want to do and, you know, they keep trying to push it, as like, that's, I don't know.
No means no.
That's abuse after all, you know?
Yeah, well, okay.
Okay, well, anyway, that's for the next episode, so, So that was like our lube.
That was our lube section we were
yeah.
talking about. Yeah. We're looking at our notes.
So
Sorry,
everybody
everyone.
keep some packets of pocket lube. And,
Yeah, just keep lube on you at all times because you
bailed me out,
you
yeah.
never know when you're going to need to bottom.
Yeah, really, like it's.
There could be a bottom emergency.
It was an emergency.
It was an emergency. Do you want to talk about some of your favorite experiences
Yeah,
with
so
anal sex?
yeah,
Some of the things you like and don't like.
well,
which
I guess
are
like for
none,
anal
because
sex
anal
for
sex
me
is great.
isn't something I've done for like a really long time. I guess I would say I'm fairly new but pretty experienced at now, and or at least yeah. So and it is. The more I have it, the more enjoyable it is, and
Yeah,
I guess like
your hole is getting.
Yeah, well, I remember asking you when
prolapse.
this was like a new adventure
Oh no,
for
I think
me.
I'm unplugging shit. I think we're good, but it's like,
So yeah, I remember when this was like a new adventure for me, and this is something I didn't do often. And I remember asking you, like,
let's write a choose your own adventure about anal sex.
I remember asking you, will it ever stop hurting? Like, and you were like, yes, it will.
Oh yeah, it does.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so like, okay, but here's the thing: is like, okay, so if it is hurting. You should...
I wouldn't say hurting.
No, I know, but I
like,
just want to clarify. Yeah. It's like if it's just for the audience, for people, if you're curious about anal sex, if you want to try anal sex, please do. I think you're going to have a great time, but be smart and be prepared. And if it's hurting, stop, because if any kind, like I said, if any kind of sex is hurting, something is wrong. You're not doing it right.
Don't continue.
Stop. Pain means something. Listen to the pain. Now, there's a difference. Okay, so something you have to get used to when you're having anal sex, if you are being penetrated, is that it's not so much. I would say it's like it's not hurting.
It can be
it's just uncomfortable. It's a new sensation.
Yes.
You're having muscles literally like.
I feel like I have a little bit better control of those muscles now, or at least I'm able to relax them easier.
Yeah, that's really. It's not really about being able to control them so much as being able to relax.
Yeah,
them.
focus mentally and get into the right headspace where I am.
Now, some of the advice that I've seen before on the in places like on the internet and stuff like that, when it comes to like bottoming for the first time, when they talk about like relaxing your hole, I'm doing air quotes, everyone. Is they say it's like actually like they're like push out like you're trying to poop, and that'll like widen your hole. And I'm like, I don't think that works. First of all, when I do that, I'm likely to just literally push the person out of me. Okay. So I think it's like there's like I understand the like concept that they're trying to like give the person the physical understanding of like trying to widen your hole, right? Your sphincter is the scientific term. But like the thing of it is like we were saying, like you have to. It's not like you like push it open. You're supposed to be like. And like sort of just
breaths.
like deep breaths. It's like Lamaze. It's like you're giving birth but in reverse, and then you come. It's great. So deep breaths. Take your time. Don't try and slam a jam anything up there.
No, take it slow.
If you are doing like penetration sex, where it involves either a strap-on dildo or a penis, and you are not sure or comfortable, it's your first time, I recommend trying the cow person position, which is when the person penetrating is laying down on their back and the person being penetrated is sitting on top of them. And then that gives you the benefit of being sort of in control of how much is going into you.
Yeah, I that's like my favorite position. Mm-hmm. One of them.
Well, it can be. See, my thing is like I usually like to start that way because like, like honestly, I don't understand when I watch these porn videos and people are just like blam and like shoving dicks in holes, and I'm just like I'm 30 years old. I've been having anal sex since I was like 16, so I've been doing this for like 14 years, and like it doesn't matter how many times I do it, like it's never just like blam, and like, you have to like. There's still like you gotta.
There's a
warm it
lot
up.
of things in
So,
porn
like,
that doesn't
yeah.
so
like yeah. Okay, well,
real
that's don't porn lies to you, everyone. It's a liar. Okay, so don't believe it. But yeah. So let's talk about we should also talk about like getting that hole ready. So like there are some fun things you can do to get the hole ready. Start with if you have not put things in your butt before, please start with something small like a finger, but also make sure that there's not a pointy nail on that finger. And if there is, do something about that.
Yeah, that can definitely cause
Don't put
tear.
a pointy. Do not put pointy. Don't put pointy anything in your butt. Don't do it.
Don't. No sharp edges. Like.
And so fingers are great. You can use butt plugs.
I like that. Honestly, they work
because
well
usually
you
can
like,
usually buy them in sets too, where it's like you work your way up. You know,
have your finger in your ass the whole time. You can kind of
fingering
just be
yourself
more
anally is hard, and I don't know how people.
Not,
I don't do.
Arms,
I'm not going to do that.
No,
I'm like someone else can do this. Someone else do this for me, please.
But I guess just this shape. I don't know. I enjoy butt plugs, and I'm like I just and they're. I have like a set, so you know you can start out small and like work a way up when you're ready for that. Like, you know, it took me some time to get to the biggest one, and I'm like, even then I have to take it slow. So like, I like to start out with the middle one, and that usually tends to like relax me and penetration is definitely easier.
I want you to talk a little bit more about butt plugs and how it feels using them, because I actually don't have a lot of experience with butt plugs, because when I started having anal sex, I was like, had it in my head, I was like ready to like, I want the real thing. So I was like, fuck toys, you know? Like that's why like in the first episode I talked about like I sort of bought like some anal beads, but like I still to this day don't have a lot of toys. Which is why I'm still waiting for you all to email me and tell me what your favorite toys are. So do that. It's what is
Jade and Greg.
Jade and Greg at sexpressivepodcast.com. Email us and tell me what to stick in my butt.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Drop us a tweet and
tell me what to stick in my butt.
Put it on the main page.
Oh, tell me, Daddy. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got distracted.
So yeah,
by putting things in my butt plugs. So yeah, tell me like what does it feel like? So like the thing is like I feel like butt plugs can look scary because like it's kind of like pointy, it's like wide all at first, right?
It is, and yeah,
but like all at once, it's like blam. Well, it's like sticking a little Christmas tree up your butt.
I think it's like the perfect shape. I think it's a good shape.
Merry
you know?
Christmas,
it's like,
everyone.
I guess once you get past that the widest point, which is like that's the most intense. Once that's in, it's very comfortable. But I like them because they stay in place. Like you if you're moving around and you're
like
having like
sex,
sex
and like what they're for,
yeah,
right?
and whatever you're doing, whatever.
It's not so much like that's the thing. Like if you're doing
stay.
butt plugs are like they're like a warm up sort of, and
that's
it's
something
like
you
and
can
it's like
keep in all day.
The pleasure is from the retention. So like if you don't have a lot of experience with butt plugs, I do not recommend trying to like do like a fucking situation with a butt plug. It's not gonna.
No,
it's
like, something you
put it in, you let it, you set it and forget it.
Yeah, and the longer you have it in, like if this is something new, like anal sex is something new, then I think like trying out like a butt plug is kind of it's just gonna prepare you for like what it's gonna feel like, and it helps you relax. Like something is in there, it's not moving necessarily. Like it's
and
just,
the first if you are bottoming for the first time, no, you are not about to poop. That's my advice to you. I know it feels like you're about to poop. You're not about to poop.
I guess it's just triggering.
I know it feels like you're gonna poop. You're not gonna poop. Because the only thing you've had come through there up until this point is poop. So I know you think. I'm just letting you know that I know that you think that you're gonna poop. You're not gonna poop. So just relax. And if you do poop, then LOL. That's a fun story to tell the kids. That's why you put a towel down first, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, buzzer. No, ladies and gentlemen. Brr. Gender's not real. Folks, that's why you put a towel down. Because sometimes sex can get messy.
Yeah, I'm like lube is not fun to clean off your sheets. It's
oh my god, it totally stains your sheets.
Yeah, I have white sheets now, so it doesn't really like leave. But I'm
warning. I know that straight people might not know this because they don't often have to use lube.
Mm-hmm.
things are working well. So like a warning, lube can stain your sheets.
Yeah, it is not fun to get out.
So maybe
don't
like
do this over your comforter. Like
Your
that's not
fan.
something. Yeah, that's something.
your fancy duvet from H&M. Who the fuck are you kidding? You liar. But yeah, you still don't want to stain on that shit. So lube can stain things. That's my tip for the day. Butt sex. Yeah, I know. We're burning through this episode, but we still have so much to talk about.
I know.
I'm ready.
I mean,
because like we've only just talked about like getting ready for butt sex.
I know,
and we haven't even talked about the real fun of butt sex. So one of the things we wanted to discuss is that butt sex is going to generally feel different depending on whether or not you have a prostate. If you're not familiar with what the prostate is, it is this fun little nugget, this little walnut-sized organ inside of the body for people who have penises. And it is what essentially generates the semen. It's like, but not the spermies. The spermies live in the testicles. It's what generates like the splooge, like the actual like glop that like the semen, like the sperm live in. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Take a ride in. Yes, like that. So, yeah.
It's like a line to a water slide.
Yeah. And if you are not familiar, if you have a prostate, and you are not familiar with your prostate, I urge you to become familiar with your prostate because it's your best friend. Let me tell you, folks, with prostates, that a prostate orgasm is probably the closest we will get to what I've heard is the full-on glory of a vaginal orgasm. I've heard great things.
I've
seen great things.
Yeah, like I don't know. Orgasms are definitely intensified like tenfold when like my prostate is involved, or you know, like it's.
So there's probably a lot of female-identified people out there who don't have prostates who might feel weird about butt sex because they're like, what's the point?
Yeah, but there are
let me
also
tell
a
you,
lot of
there's
nerve
a point.
endings. Like,
yeah, okay. So first of all, from like the entrance on in is just like a tube of nerve endings. All right, so you're just feeling fun times all the way. It's the fun time tube. I'm gonna start calling my rectum the fun time tube, but while I'm having sex.
Yeah,
I'll fuck my fun time too. Oh, Daddy. Okay. So yeah, there's all those nerve endings, and then also there is the whole. I've heard there's the whole like. It's kind of like the way that it's been explained to me. Now, this is you have to understand. I have a prostate. I do.
So
not,
do I,
and I do not have a vagina. So I'm going on what I've been told. So if anything I say is incorrect or doesn't speak to your experience, please let me know. And you can email us at Jade and Greg at Sexpressive
we're familiar with, like, you know.
Yeah, we want to know.
We're going off of other people's experiences.
Okay, so here's the thing, is I've heard great things. So if you think that there is not a point, there is a point. I've heard, essentially, like, my understanding is that it kind of, like, because it's all, like, mashed together. They're neighbors. The fun time tube and the vaginal canal are neighbors. And and so apparently, like, the pressure that you feel, like, in the rectum, the fun time tube from the anal sex, generates, like, radiates, I guess is the word, out through the rectum into, like, the vaginal canal. And, like, I think there's, like, it's like, well, where would that be? That's like the pelvic floor, and there's like an erogenous zone there.
Yeah, and I've also heard like double penetration is like that's something like I've heard is. One day I will experience this.
Yeah, one day we'll all experience it.
Maybe.
We'll have we'll have a double penetration episode in which Jade and I will speak to you while being double penetrated.
Yeah. Well, this. I'm talking about when
does that make it porn?
I'm able to get my bottom surgery. This is like.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I can still get double penetrated. It just takes some more work.
Yeah. I don't know if I would. That's too much. Like, one is enough for me. Like,
I told you I'm not into prolapse porn. So yeah. So my understanding is that it's like sort of the pleasure radiates from that. So this is what it's been. So what I know about like pleasure with having a penis is that it's all very like centrally located. The pleasure is a lot of fun, but if you're having a penile orgasm, it's like boo in like one area. You know, your body can be turned on and titillated, but
I have a
different experience.
Yeah, like
tell us about that different
hormones.
Yeah,
my orgasm has changed a lot.
Okay,
doesn't feel so centralized anymore. It is definitely, I feel like all over my body now. So
that sounds fun.
It's a different ride altogether. Like it's a slow train ride instead of like a rocket ship right to.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean the way that like the vaginal orgasm has been explained to me is that it feels like the build up to it feels like waves.
And then this
like
isn't, I'm not having a vaginal orgasm.
I know, but I'm just saying, yeah.
An orgasm, I guess, under like a body, like pumping with estrogen. And
yeah, maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say,
but also like
a couple months after,
canal is like, and the vulva and the clitoris, the whole package is just like, it's like the holy grail of nerve endings. So like, but yes, so you say that you've been experiencing a more
and this
like bodily orgasm,
and
which is great. That sounds fun. But so the thing that the reason we're bringing this up is that how it pertains to anal sex is that for people with prostates, having a prostate orgasm is essentially our version of having a bodily orgasm, and it feels great. Like when I have a prostate orgasm, I like feel it over my body. And it is like that, like building. It's like you pushing like bing, 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 bing. You keep pushing that button until it like the pleasure sort of spills over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a different like edge compared to like I guess I don't know. There's no like sudden edge. I feel like I don't know.
So I guess what we're saying is whether you have a prostate or not, it seems like anal sex might be the best way to have a lovely full body wash over you orgasm. So stick things in your butt.
Yeah, you might like it.
So yes, I would like to, speaking of that, I would like to hear more from the people that are hopefully listening to this. Please listen to us. I'm so lonely. Be my friend. So the people that are listening, I know you're listening because you love us. The people that are listening to this, if you have a...
Where else are you going to hear
if you
talk about butt sex for an hour? Like,
let's listen to these
Tell
people.
me, please. I'd like to know.
So if you have a perspective on that, on what... I just want to hear about like the different perspectives on anal sex and the pleasure and the orgasms that people have, whether or not you have a prostate.
Yeah, I'm really interested.
I want to hear some comparisons.
Yeah.
So please tell us about that. Again, that's Jade and Greg at sexpressivepodcast.com. So tell me, I know that you've been a bit of a slut lately. Have you been having a lot of butt sex?
Yes. Yeah. More than ever. Yeah. So like I was saying in the beginning, this is, and I'm not, if this is the first episode you're tuning into, I am like trans. I do identify as a woman. So, I mean, this is like, and being like new to anal sex, it's more enjoyable because doesn't cause such like a dysphoric like feeling like every time I want to have sex. So like it's nice to just like focus on something else other than like my penis, and it's which something is sometimes I don't like really that doesn't like I guess make me feel sexy. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's just like, but so anyway, anal sex is a way for me to kind of get over that genital dysphoria and enjoy sex more, like with a partner. And so yeah, I mean that's like kind of like,
okay. So I have a story. This is from last night, actually. Last night, I had sex with my boyfriend. And he's here. So he's here. Someone let him in. So
it's so miserable.
He said he's around the corner.
It's cold and rainy
he's probably
right now.
in the car.
Like,
I'm going to tell him Okay, I'm going to tell him. Okay, sorry.
So tell us about
sorry,
your
this is all
story.
very professional. So Sam, my boyfriend Samuel, we were having sex last night, and I was feeling very bottomy. And I was like, I want you to finger back me. So, and he was all on board. And he strapped on his glove, because we like to use gloves for finger fucking, because it's just generally it's like easier cleanup, less chance of causing scratches or bacterial infections.
And what kind of gloves do you have?
He non-latex, because
that's right.
he's got an allergy to latex. So be aware of that. Some people have allergies to latex. So if you are going to involve gloves in your sexual play, especially if you're having a lot of, sex with strangers or, hookups, I would recommend getting non-latex gloves.
Yeah, and honestly, I always have. It's a good idea, I'd say, to keep some non-latex condoms. Around too.
I mean,
it's not something you have to carry on your person, because I don't know how rare it is but still, good idea, because I know a few people that have.
And that's a real buzzkill, getting an allergic reaction during sex.
Like that would not. Oh,
ooh.
That doesn't
Sounds
sound
like
fun.
it
Yeah.
stings.
That wouldn't be a good time to find out that you have a problem
Surprise.
with latex.
My hole's on fire.
Or my dick is on fire. That's a bad time to find out you have a sensitivity with
Don't
latex.
light your hole on fire. Okay, so he was fingering me, and now keep in mind I got pretty stoned before we did this, because everything's better when you're stoned. So I got really high, and then he was fingering me, and now here's the thing. So my experience with fingering in the past, I had not had a lot of great fingering experiences.
Yeah, me
probably
too.
because I think I was being fingered by inexperienced people.
Yeah, sometimes
who
it's a bit rough.
Didn't know to clip their goddamn nails, or cue the I want Mark to add the psycho stabbing screech noise. So Daddy Podcast, put that in there. So that's a nightmare. Bad fingering is really bad. So it's not fun. So I sort of for a while was I don't want, if you're gonna put something in there, just put your dick in there. I don't need the digits. Yeah. But here's the thing. When it's done right, it's amazing. Because the thing is dicks can't vibrate and do crazy wiggly things, if yours can, that's great. And please contact me immediately. I would like to get to know you. But most of them don't, as far as from my experience, most of them don't. So with fingering, you have the option of changing the width of, how much is in you. You can take a finger away. You can and I said, you could do he was doing this. I don't even know. It was I don't know.
Prostate massage.
Yeah, but okay, I don't know. It was like a click. Okay, I can only think of
Sam,
one.
what is this technique?
I can only think of one description in my head right now to describe it, and it's not cute. So I'm just have you ever seen a bug on its back like
the
a
legs,
beetle
like,
or
and
a
the legs
roach.
are like
No. And then like it's like trying to flip over, and it's like scrunching
Flops.
its abdomen. It's like clear, and it's like
Kinda, I usually don't watch them because it's really
yeah, it's gross. It's gross
Yeah.
and creepy, but that's what it felt like. But like on my prostate. No, it did not feel like there were roaches crawling on my prostate. It's like The Craft. We're gonna make a gay porn version of The Craft, and the scene where all those fucking snakes and stuff come out. They're gonna be coming out of a twink's butthole.
Oh God!
So
that would
get
be a
ready for that production.
Oh.
Brought to you by spacesproductions.com. Excuse me if I coughed into the microphone. Okay, so like he's doing a thing, and it's like I'm like astral projecting out of my body, like, and this thing starts to happen where like my entire like upper like my epidermis, my like upper layer skin like was like all like numb and tingly like all over my whole body. So I was like I was like, am I dying? Also, this feels great. And I had the most intense prostate orgasm in my entire fucking life last night.
Hopefully that's not like that's something you can achieve.
No, hopefully this is something. No. But let me, folks, this is how intense this orgasm was. This has never happened to me.
Hearts.
I broke out crying. This orgasm was so intense that it made me cry. So this is my call to you, prostate owners of the world. I'm looking at you, straight men who are afraid to put things in your butt. You can have orgasms that are so good, they'll make you cry.
Yeah, or like,
and I know
honestly,
you've never had one like that with your dick, because I also have a dick. So, and now here's the thing. If you didn't know this about tears, a fun little fact about tears. Did you know that tears are actually like literally a physical, like your body physically pushing out whatever hormone is inducing the emotion that you're feeling at that point? So what it is,
in your tear.
It's in your tear. So scientists discovered by like taking microscopic photos of tears that different emotions looked different. They had different like molecular makeups. So like a sad tear looks different from a happy tear, looks different from a stressed tear. And that's because our emotions that we feel are literally just hormones that our brain is releasing in our body. And then that translates into an emotion. So each emotion has its own like cocktail of hormones. And so what can happen is any emotion can become overwhelming, whether it's positive or negative. And so if an emotion, so like if you're feeling an emotion so strongly that it's making you cry, what that means is that there's too much of whatever hormone rushing through your system and that it's overwhelming you. So your body literally just expels it via tears.
I guess that's like something like women.
So cry more, folks.
Estrogen causes like when I have my estrogen shot, I cry. Like
have
and I know
orgasms that make you cry.
Yeah. When your levels are like estrogen levels are high, I tend to cry more. Like I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's literally it's your body like hormone regulating. So like I think that's what happened there when I had that orgasm. Because like when you have an orgasm, your body releases like a cocktail of fun time hormones that make you feel all good.
Yeah, especially if this is with someone you like or love. Like, too. It's a whole different.
Oh my god, it was like a whole like emotion, and then
that's
we had to like hold each other.
Can't just like have with anybody like.
And then I just gave him hella head because I was just so sexually charged at that point, and it was like electricity running through me, and I was like,
I love that feeling.
I'm gonna fucking make you cum your brains out now. Oh, so this is real quick to wrap this up because we're already at an hour and 4 minutes.
Wow, that went by
quick. Know that went by so quickly. I don't even know if we didn't even get to everything. We didn't talk about queefing. Okay, so let me talk about queefing. Queefing is when there is air buildup in either your rectum or vaginal canal that is usually produced through penetrative sex which can happen because, when you're doing like a pumping in and out thing,
Yeah,
there's going to be air is going to get pushed into there.
Yes.
So that is one of the ways that anal sex can be uncomfortable. And that's something to be aware of, that there are different positions that you can use that will help alleviate that air buildup. One of the things that I recommend, especially if you are not used to anal sex, is don't try and do no long dicking, because that's how you get the air buildup when they like pull all the way out and go all the way back in. You just just get in there and like do a thing. Just like get in there and do a thing. Sometimes I'm like, I get annoyed with tops where I'm like, could you not? Like, I know that you're trying to like I know that you're trying to like top me.
Think about your bottom,
but like
partner right
you're
now.
like literally filling me up like a fucking balloon right now, and I'm gonna pop.
Yeah, like
So
don't
what
be
that-
afraid to tell someone to slow down or
don't
not
be
go
afraid
as
to tell
deep.
people not to do it. But also, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, so like queefing, essentially, it sounds like a fart. It can come out of your butt or your vagina, and it's literally just a release of that air buildup. And it sounds like a fart because that's what a fart is. It's a release of air buildup. So a lot of people feel really embarrassed about queefing because it's not sexy. I guess
it's sexy sound.
but here's the thing. Yeah. It is sexy in the sense that it is directly related to sex, because like it's a thing that happens during sex. And if you I'm just trying to get people to this space where I'm like, I want them to like understand that like if you're going to have sex, you need to be prepared for the things that like comes with sex, and
I wasn't
you can't
prepared
have
the
these
first time that
unreasonable
happens.
expectations of human bodies.
Or I was, but it just
like
caught me by surprise.
Air buildup can be really uncomfortable and sometimes even painful during anal sex. So what I'm going to tell you is, if you have that air buildup, you go ahead and you push it out. You have that queef, all right? And if your top can't handle that queef, you need a new top. And it's not, don't worry, I know you're worried that it's going to be like stinky. It's not a fart. It's not a fart. It's literally just air that was just pushed into you. Just push it right back out and keep on going on with your day. Although I will say that sometimes when you're trying to push air out, you can accidentally push someone, like the person, out of you. So just be aware of that.
Right off their feet. So, yeah, I guess we already kind of like talked about the health and diet a little bit.
Oh, so I had a call out. This is my call out post to people who have an issue with cunnilingus and giving it. I don't know what all these fucking men bitching about, why they're bitching about eating pussy, or why they're like scared of it. It's just a vagina. If you're willing, if you're like, if you insist on that you should have the privilege of putting your dick in there, then at least like warm it up.
Are you talking about like?
I'm talking about eating
rimming.
Pussy right now.
Okay. Oh no. Okay.
I'm changing. This is
Okay.
because we're wrapping up butt sex, and I just wanted to throw this out there. All I'm saying is from my experience, because I've been having more experience with cunnilingus. It's not that fucking hard, so just do it, okay?
Yeah, it's not this like tricky
it's not like this mystery. It's not the Hellraiser puzzle box where it's really hard to solve, and then all of a sudden your flesh is being pulled off you by hooks or whatever. That's not going to happen, okay? So just put on your snorkel and fucking get down there.
Yeah,
make them come. Because here's my thing. If you are not trying to make your partner have the best orgasm that they can have, why are you having sex? That's just my stance on it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, this isn't like a one.
I'm not fucking
yeah.
someone to make me come. That's their job. I'm fucking them to make them come.
Yes.
So let's all get in that mindset, folks. Make your partner come.
You were talking about cunnilingus, but we didn't really get into rimming at all, and that's like something Oh
yeah, a lot of people are nervous about rimming. Okay, buttholes are not dirty. We've said it before.
Well, I
just wash them.
I am
with soap.
Selective. Like I can say
it's
that
like
it's
you
not
wash the
something
pesticide off your fruit before you eat it.
But I do enjoy
it's
it.
Just like
though.
groceries.
I enjoy receiving it. And it's like I know
a lot of people like really love getting rimmed. And I like see its purpose as like it really helps with like the getting things started because it does relax and it also provides like lube. I have definitely had situations where guys have ribbed me so long that I did not need to use lube because they just like opened it up, I guess. But for me personally, I don't it's not that I dislike it, but I don't like it. I'm not like, yeah, put your tongue in there. Like, I'm just like, it kind of just feels like a slimy slug. Like hanging. And then also sometimes guys try to do this thing where they like bite my butthole. Which I know is like a technique that some people use.
I like to bite a butt cheek, but
a butt cheek is fine. Please don't bite my butthole. That hurts. I know some people are into that. I'm not. I'm letting you know this now for when we have sex in the future, because we will have sex in the future. Don't bite my butthole. Was that enough about rimming? I know we should talk about. I mean, we have a whole series. We'll talk about rimming.
Yeah, and that's just, I don't know, a small part of it, but I'm glad we got to mention it because you mentioned like any oral.
Oral's great.
Yeah, and oral is like there's a ton of ways to like do it. Like
that's going to be a whole episode. That's going to have to be like 3 episodes.
Yeah,
oral.
That's like
oral.
I really like enjoy mouths.
You enjoy. I enjoy mouths.
Yeah, like I don't know, like anything kissing. It can be like.
All right, wrap it up. That's a whole new topic.
You're right. All right. We are like pushing it.
Unless you're talking about putting your mouth on a butt.
All right, so like after talking
don't be
about
scared
this,
about butts.
Yeah.
Don't be scared about putting things in or on your butt. Remember that butts are not dirty. That all you need to do is wash them. That you should use plenty of lube. Breathe deeply. Take your time and avoid sharp objects.
Yeah,
I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, that's.
Don't bite
like
my
the
hole.
Tip list to.
Don't bite my hole. And now this is the segment of the show.
This is the butt plug.
The butt plug, which is appropriate for this episode. We're gonna butt plug you, everyone. Jade, you know more about the butt plugs, right?
All right. So, just before we wrap up, we're
gonna stick things in your butt, your ear butt. Your brain butt.
We wanted to mention the Spaces Production Mixer Party.
Yeah, put this in your brain butt, everyone.
That's November 18th at the Ethical Society in Rittenhouse Square, 1906 Rittenhouse Square. This is a chance for you to come out and meet the Spaces team and meet some of the other hosts of the podcast under the Spaces Productions team. So
so if you are a fan of any of the shows such as Three Black Femmes, Lulu and Pop, Both Sides, Broke But Cultured, and the Mark and Dark Show, which I know you're a fan of all of those shows because they're fucking great. So
but yeah, I know there is.
If you like those, you get to meet these people and actually like hear them do a show, which is hot.
Also, and tickets range. You can pay. I think it's a
donation situation. It's a pay what you will. So please give us some money.
But there will be drinks, food, and music.
Yeah, there's. It's a BYO situation, but there will be some things provided.
So come be social. Foods. Greg and I will be there.
We'll be there. We won't be doing a show really because this is still a baby podcast. But if you want to come stand in the corner and judge people with us, or make out in the bathroom, or have sex,
that's where we'll be.
That's where if you want to fuck us, come to the Spaces Mixer on November 18th at the Philadelphia Ethical Society. It is, what are the hours again? 5 to 8. 5 to 8. Saturday, November 18th, Philadelphia Ethical Society. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I have too much caffeine and I have a lisp and I can't talk. So come to the show and meet the cool people and meet us, and then maybe we'll have sex. And then we also I totally just mentioned all of the other shows, all those other shows. If any of them sound really cool to you, and they are really cool, you can find all of them at spacesproductions.com. They are also literally
they're on
everywhere
iTunes,
that
SoundCloud,
podcasts exist. Yeah. iTunes, SoundCloud. That goes the same for us,
Google
folks.
Play. Yeah,
Google Gay.
Yeah, we're finally on iTunes now. I know that the first
that's
episode.
Sexy.
Yeah,
that's like
So, I mean, we have
Bougie.
Yeah, you can leave us a rating. We would love that.
Oh,
or
yeah, leave
comment.
us-
Yeah, let us know
give
what you
us-
think.
Unless you don't like us, because we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, don't give us.
Shut the fuck up.
Come in there and
How
give us
about
a
that?
shitty rating. Just keep us to yourself.
No,
kidding.
seriously. Please
we
tell
wanted
us you love
yeah.
us. We're so lonely.
But also, you can reach out to us on Twitter now, and that's Twitter.
We don't know how Twitter works. So
We're-
teach us.
we're slowly
via Twitter.
learning, yeah.
It'll be hilarious. Teach us via Twitter how
slowly
Twitter
learning.
works. We're old.
But yeah, that's like
we also have Facebook.
Yeah, we have
you
a
can
Facebook.
find us on Facebook. Literally, just go to Facebook and type in the search bar Sexpressive. There's a page there that has a picture of us if you want to know what we look like, and links to the other first two episodes that we have put out.
Yeah, I wanted to mention our Twitter handle is Sexpressive FM. So,
and you can message us. You can message us on Twitter. You can message us on Facebook. You can use the hashtags Sexpressive or Sexpressive Podcast on Facebook. And like, I've pretty much already taken over those because no one was fucking using them. So I'll see your shit.
We own them.
And email us. And for the millionth time, that is Jade and Greg at sexpressivepodcast.com. So remember, all of that fun and sexy stuff is at
hopefully
Spaces Productions.
you learned a little bit today, or maybe you just, I don't know.
Or maybe you're like, why are these people rambling on about douching for half an hour?
I know. Well, it's something, you know what?
It takes about half an hour, just so you know.
Yeah, and that's what recommended time. I think it says it on the box, 30 minutes. Like,
so that's what I'm going to tell you is that if you are going to douche, if you're douching before your next bottoming session, listen to this show, and by the time we're done talking about douching, you'll be ready to fuck. Yes. Use us as your fuck timer. Actually, I would really love it if you all just started playing our podcast in the background while you were having sex. And if you want, send in requests of sounds you want me to make while that's happening, and I'll do it for you. Like that. Do you want? If you want, or lower, like, yeah. So if you just want like we'll do a whole episode where it's just an hour-long like selection of moans, and then you can play that while you're fucking. Okay, so we're done talking, I think. Wait, let me just check in with Daddy Podcast, the man in charge of all this. Is there anything else that we forgot to plug? We're good. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, listeners. We love you dearly. Please contact us and tell me what to put in my butt. Bye.
Bye.